Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we talk about everything financial literacy. Today, we're going to be talking about income verification and creating a paycheck stub for your business. And this could be for an LLC. It could also be for a corporation. We're going to also be discussing why income verification is so important and why you definitely want to start doing this right away, especially when it comes to getting products like a car loan or getting yourself an apartment even when you're self-employed. And I'm going to show you how you can create these paycheck stubs. All right. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's first talk about why you need income verification. So if you're trying to get, again, an apartment, a personal loan while you're self-employed, it's easier if you present them with a paycheck stub. For anything else, like for example, if you were to try to get a loan and say that you are self-employed or you're the CEO or owner of a company, they're going to ask you for documentation more than likely. That's the reason why a lot of the videos that you see that are popular about business are no doc or no income. But then what happens when you need to get your apartment or things like that where these things are required, right? So this is exactly the same thing that I do with my business right now, but you want to present paycheck stubs as opposed to 2 years tax returns, especially if you're a new business and you don't have that information. Again, this is what I'm doing now for my current business. And in 2 years, when I do have tax documents, I won't have to worry about that. And I can change my approach with just using my tax returns. But for now, I'm a W-2 employee of my business, and it makes it so much easier to get approved for personal loans or other financial products, especially again when you're 100% self-employed. Now, let's talk about business structure and taxes. One of the most important things is separating your personal from your business. Now, I have talked about this a little bit in some videos that I have about business bank accounts, but you need to, in the beginning, separate your personal from your business. It's very important. And I know in the beginning, we focus on making money. We do that a lot, but we do it to our detriment because we don't consider, once we make the money, how do we keep the money? We're going to talk about that in this video. So you do not, and I repeat, you do not want to mix your personal and your business finances. Again, we're going to solve all that in this video. I know that the pretense was just how to get a paycheck stub, but trust me, you're going to get so much more out of this. So you want to pay yourself a salary. This is going to be very important. When paying yourself a salary, it's important to set aside money for taxes, but we're also going to talk about that and other business expenses. This could help avoid a financial surprise, but it'll also keep your business on a solid financial ground. Additionally, paying yourself a salary is important for record keeping. Now you want to make a salary that's fixed. What I mean by that is you want to pay yourself the same thing every single month or every quarter or annually, however you like to pay. You're probably wondering, how do you pay yourself? And then that's the main thing. This is also how we're going to be creating these paycheck stubs. In order for you to pay yourself and create a paycheck stub, you will need to have a payroll processing company set it up for you. You can use companies like Gusto, Paychecks. For this demonstration, we'll be using ADP. Now, I like ADP because they can help you set up things like unemployment, HR services, clocking for in and out for the employees that you have, health insurance, retirement plans, workers' comp, and many other services. You may not need any of that stuff right now, but in the future, you will be aware that you can have those things. So I bet you some of us never even thought about, wow, I can have a corporation and I can provide my own health insurance. That is something that you actually can do. So ADP also files your payroll taxes for you on a quarterly or yearly basis. And they also do the filing for the IRS so they can pay the taxes. This is super important. They also give you your W-2 when you are an employee of your company. So just like when you work a regular job and you file your taxes at the end of the year, you'll be able to do the same thing by working for your own company, but there's going to be a benefit to doing that for your taxes. One other benefit with ADP is that it reports payments to the business credit bureaus. What I mean by that is they'll report your payroll information to the business credit bureaus, increasing your overall business credit worthiness and your score. So that is an additional benefit that you will get when you do this. So if you're like me, you possibly may file your taxes as an S-Corp. An S-Corp is a declaration. So if you make more than $50,000 per year, you may want to consider filing as an S-Corp. You can also do this if you have an LLC. You cannot do this if you are a sole proprietor. Now, what's an S-Corp? S-Corps are pass-through taxation entities, and they file an informational federal return called Form 1120S, but no income tax is paid at the corporate level. That is the benefit that you're going to get. The profits and losses of the business are instead passed through to the business and reported on the owner's personal tax returns. Now, I know that's a lot of information, but just stay with me. We're going to explore this just a little bit further. Let's talk about why become an S-Corp in the first place. Now, the main reason why people want to become an S-Corp is to avoid self-employment tax. Now, self-employment tax can be up to 15.3% of your total profit when you have a regular LLC. Now, I'm going to give you an example, and hopefully it's simple so you can understand exactly how this works. Now, a regular LLC, let's say you made $100,000 in a year. Let's say your taxes at 15.3%. This is going to be $15,300 you have to pay in taxes. All right. Now, that's when you file your taxes as a regular LLC. Here's what happens when you file your taxes as an S-Corp. The taxable income is divided into two parts. The first part is being distribution. Now, what is distribution? Distribution is a payout that your business's equity that's going to be to you or the other owners of your business. That means they can come from accumulated profits or from money that was previously invested in the business and are not factored in how much a business owner is taxed. Okay, that is your distribution. Now, the second part is your salary. Your salary as an S-Corp shareholder, you can be both the employee and the owner. So now you will only pay self-employment tax on things like Medicare and Social Security on the salary portion. All right, now let's bring it all together. So in the next example, an S-Corp makes $100,000. That is going to be the amount of money that you made in the year. Let's say you paid yourself a salary of $30,000. The remainder is $70,000. That will be the distribution. Okay. You only pay taxes on the salary. You only pay taxes on $30,000, the self-employment tax, which means if you take $30,000, 15.3% of that is $4,590. That is now your taxes. So you just saved $10,710 in taxes. So you do not pay self-employment tax on the $70,000 distribution in this example. So hopefully you can see the advantage of filing as an S-Corp. Also, why you want to be an employee of your company and you want to pay yourself a fixed salary. All of this is going to help you significantly save taxes at the end of the year. Not only that, this is all your taxes taken care of for your business. This is something you definitely want to do and you want to be aware of because, again, if you make a lot of money in the beginning of the year and you don't elect to file as an S-Corp, you may have a large tax bill when you could have saved a lot. And this is not including anything that you have written off. Okay. Now, let's talk about some of the cons of having an S-Corp. Now, it's not really a con, I would say, but when you have an S-Corp, you need to pay yourself a reasonable salary. Now, what is a reasonable salary? It's not clearly stated. It doesn't have to be a certain amount. There's no definition. However, if you make $100,000 in a year and you pay yourself $10,000 for the entire year, you're paying yourself a very low salary in order to make your tax bill that much smaller. That is going to be questionable. It can potentially get you audited. So I recommend that you pay yourself the same way that you would pay someone who worked in your position, which again is why you don't necessarily need to put the CEO. You can just be a manager in your company. I'm a manager for blah, 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 LLC. I'm a manager for this corporation or Inc. And this is my position. I am now working with this payroll processor. I now have paycheck stubs. I have a W-2. I now have a salary of this. I pay taxes of this. And then I only have to pay self-employment tax on my salary. The rest is distribution. I save money. So this is the advantages of you doing it this way. Now, with all that being said, I'm going to show you exactly how you can generate your paycheck stubs using ADP. Now, this is the ADP sign-in. For you to have your own account, you will need to contact ADP. You can do it through the online sign up, and then they're going to set up an appointment with you to walk you through this whole process, to give you pricing and to go through the onboarding. Now, for me and what I'm doing, the plan that I have is just $53, I believe, per month, and the first 3 months are free. At the time of this video, that might change, so just bear in mind. Also, depending on what you get, the pricing can also change. So I can't say that will be your definitive price. That's just the price that I currently have. They don't put prices online. You won't see it online. You have to contact them and have them set it up for you, okay? But I just wanted to show you exactly how you would sign in, and you can say, I'm an accountant for a company that uses ADP. So I'm gonna go next. And then what you're gonna sign into is gonna be called Run Your Payroll. And then it's going to be run powered by ADP. And then you can go to accountant sign in because you are the accountant in this case. You're handling your payroll. Now, once you log in, your screen's going to look just like this. And this is my bi-weekly payroll. I can run it here. Home, payroll, people, HR, reports, taxes. This is pretty much everything. When you want to get your W-2s at the end of the year, then you can go to taxes. When you go to payroll, there will be an option for you to actually download your paycheck stubs. And then I'll show you exactly what that paycheck stub will look like in a sample. And then we're just going to go to the run payroll first. You can actually run your payroll with your business credit card. I'm going to make a separate video at a later date where I talk about that and then talk about the advantages and disadvantages of running your payroll with a business credit card. And this is just going to be a preview of my current payroll. So let's just scroll over here so we can take a look. I'm paying myself $1,250 every 2 weeks. That's $2,500 for the month, which will be $30,000 for the year. And if we scroll over, we can actually see all of my taxes right here, around $169.32. So my net pay is going to be around $1,080.68. So for my state, it's already taking out my actual taxes that I have to pay. And then at the end of the year, I won't actually owe taxes. All the taxes that I'll pay will just be taken out from my checks, basically. And if you take the $169.32 and you multiply that times 2 and then times 12, I know it's somewhere around 4,100 or right around there, which in our example, our previous one, it's pretty much the exact same. So that was my 15.3%. I think it's a little bit less than 15.3, but it's fairly close to being that exact figure. And then I'll show you an example of, or a sample of what your paycheck stub would look like. So this is an example of a paycheck stub from ADP. If you've ever had any company that used them, then you'll know they all look the same pretty much. But it has the ADP, the logo here. It'll have whatever your business address is, the period, and then it'll have your information, and then it'll also have your earnings, your deductions. And this is the same type of, I mean, I've had lots of companies that used ADP. I've done the same thing with like payroll, where I took paycheck stubs or submitted them to get things, to, get car loans, things like that. You will be able to generate the exact same thing for your business. Once you run your first payroll, then you could just download these as you see fit, and then you'll be able to get a W-2 as well at the end of the year. So you will also have that. Again, this will also help with your business taxes. So this is the easiest way that you can generate a paycheck stub. You don't have to use ADP, but I do think the features that you can get in the future will definitely be good depending on the size of your business and how it grows. So thank you so much for watching. If you found value in this information at all, please like and share this video. Also, just leave a comment letting me know that you found value in this video. Really do appreciate you guys watching. If you want more information like this, maybe more information related to payroll and taxes, or you do want to find out how you can actually use your credit card to run payroll with ADP. The benefits of that, there's some cons with that because it will cost you money to basically do it, but I can also show you, what are the benefits of doing that and why I choose to do it. So just let me know if you'd be interested in that. And again, if this video was informative to you and if you'll be using this to generate your paycheck stubs as a person who is self-employed. Also keep in mind, you can have two W-2s, one from your employer, one from your job and working for yourself and your company as well. You can combine both of those to help increase your income. If you're trying to use things for income verification later or trying to get an apartment or something of that nature and you have to make 3x or this amount, you'll be able to prove that you can actually do that this way. So again, just let me know if you found value in this information. I really do appreciate you guys watching and you have a wonderful day.